In Badghis, they've been putting the theory into practice. The Taliban have occupied parts of this western province for more than 2 years, using the area as a smuggling route north to Tajikistan and to the fighting in the south.
Hey, Sergeant Major, we got Italian vehicles moving up the road over here.
This is not natural territory for ethnic Pashtuns, from whom the Taliban are largely drawn.
They control primarily the east side of the valley. This is the area that they've held primarily to secure their smuggling routes. This enables them to bring drugs in north and weapons and money south, and anything else they want to move through this area. There are limited friendly forces here, and historically this has been outside of the sphere of influence of government forces. And that's why there's been such a big effort to establish a coalition and Afghan security force presence in this valley.
The Americans are joined by Italian forces running NATO's Western Command. They say the operation is not just a show of strength, but a demonstration of ISAF's joined-up command structures and real-time field experience for the Afghans taking part in the operation.
Esta es una zona de importancia estratégica porque junta nuestra región con la región norte y las líneas de comunicaciones son verdaderamente importantes por el tráfico legal y ilegal.
It's an intense onslaught from the American base position, backed up by air power, with the Italians and Afghan forces sealing off areas on either side in an effort to flush the insurgents down a narrow channel.
Fun for one day.
Far to the south, in a blanket of dust, an American Marine Expeditionary Force has established itself at Leatherneck Camp in Helmand. Its base for 7,000 Marines, deployed as part of a 17,000-strong American troop reinforcement which arrived last year.
Those forces will go and clear and hold areas where we currently can't hold. Fundamentally, these extra US forces will allow us to break that stalemate, to go forward into areas where there is a large amount of the population, to provide greater security by clearing out the insurgents, and then staying there, which we've not been able to do before, to allow us to then improve governance, reconstruction and development.
The emphasis is on strategic thinking, planning, so the ANA can take responsibility for security.
و یگانه روشی که ما داریم انشالله به یاری خداوند هموطنای ما از ما راضی باشه ما روش پیشروی خود که رقت مردم روش خوب بکنیم مردم طرف ما توجهش جلب شوه طالب خود به خود ما نابود میشه
ولا بدی وجه دا خو کوي دي سیاغو هیڅ خبره نه منل کیږي نه کوم مشکل حل کیږي بدی وجه خلکو میغ پر او تا خو وخت ده بدی وجه حکومت نه لګ باور کم سوای ده.
For ISAF, it's about approaching things from multiple angles, including understanding the economic needs of the enemy they're trying to tackle. If that means providing support to fighters so that they lay down their arms, so be it.
It's not a fight between us and the Taliban or the insurgents in that way, because if it is, I mean, this can go on for a long, long time. It's a business of creating space. Of course, quite a number of the people who we end up fighting are not hugely committed insurgents. They're on the payroll. And if we can provide them with other forms of employment, other jobs, other ways of making money, then they will cease to be insurgents really quite quickly.
So who exactly are the insurgents? What are their capacities and structures beyond the projections of success carried in their videos? In 2005, 4 years after they were removed from power, the Taliban re-emerged in Afghanistan, remotivated, better equipped, trained and funded. Beyond controlling many sparsely populated southern parts of the country, they have repeatedly made their presence felt in the capital. They've pushed into population centres, which ISAF or the ANA don't have the numbers to hold. In the minds of many Afghans, their strict Sharia-based codes and their stance against warlordism make good sense.
It's very difficult, a very cunning enemy. They operate in very small groups. They know the terrain very well. They hide amongst the population. They use all the tricks that they can to make life difficult for us. And so it's a very cunning enemy. They know how to give a good opposition with very primitive means. And I think, well, that's you could have respect for that.
There's elements of a lot of things. There's ideology, fundamental religion, I suppose the same thing in a way. There's economic and criminal. The narco traffickers, the narco terrorists. So a lot of it's economic, not necessarily ideological. And I mean, there's also evidence that there are at least some foreign fighters who are, part, if you like, of the sort of global jihad movement. Although it's always quite difficult to know. What locals refer to as foreigners in parts of Afghanistan can be people from 3 villages away. There's all sorts of numbers suggested by various different authorities of how many committed hardcore insurgents there are, and this probably isn't the place to bandy them around. But it's not an insurmountable number.
طالب‌ها خو اینجا به 3 قسمت هستن ما که ببینیم. سیسه یک طالبایی است که از پاکستان میآید، اینجا تجهیز میشه، هر روز اینجا سلاح دشانیش است، جنگ میکنه، با میره یک جای پوت میشه. یک تعداد است که مردم از این جمع کاری میکنه، به نام طالب کتشان ارتباط دارن، و گروپ سومش مردم عادی است که او از ترس هم رای از یک جا میشه.
People living in the areas close to the border with Pakistan speak of the ease with which insurgents cross into Afghanistan.
خبره دا چې شپې د خوانه ما خام نو ورسته مونږ هر سړی خپل کور باندې نه وځي باندې نه په خبره دي خلکو باندې خو مقصد هغه پاکستان د خوانه داخله کراوړي شپې ما خپل هغه تروریستي عملیات سر لرسي نور به ته تختی غرون له تختی.
This is an account from one Nangarhar villager who asked that his identity not be disclosed, fearing reprisals.
When they get training over there, they are getting 3-4 types, like how to fight straight to straight with the enemy, and how to get intelligence report from the area. And the third one is how to put an ID on the roads or in the side of the roads. They are killing our people. They don't want our freedom. Once I heard from one of our Afghans that he got suicide attack training in tribal Pakistani areas, and he was trying to come to explode himself. He says, when I came in here, I saw that all people, there was no American, no coalition, nobody foreigner. Everybody over there, they were Afghans. So I thought, hey, they are Muslim, I am Muslim, why I should explode myself?
At a new ANA hospital in Kandahar, Abdul Hadi, a police officer who was confronted by Taliban fighters in Panjwai district of Kandahar, is receiving treatment for multiple bullet wounds. This is the province which the Taliban regard as their homeland, and Panjwai has seen some of the fiercest fighting in the past years. The bullets Abdul Hadi took damaged his kidney, his liver and his spine. Doctors say that he will never walk again. Gharib Hussein, a 20-year-old soldier in the ANA, was luckier. He's having a stomach wound dressed after coming face to face with Taliban fighters. They shot at him and a colleague as both soldiers were standing on a hilltop to watch over a passing troop convoy below.
ولایت زابل ورسوالی شنکای وظیفه ماست در قطار آمده بودیم وظیفه قماندان لیام آمدن کندک وظیفه آمده بودیم امنیتی سر در امنیتی بالا میشتیم سر تپه فهمیدیم 2 نفر بودیم یکی ما بودیم یک بچه دیگه بود بنده خدا شهید شد خوشی ساز میکنم دیگه متاسف هستیم که اندوال ما از دست ما رفتن خود دیگه چیز قسمت باشن دیگه فهمیدیم خودم